Welcome to everyone here. I have a twofold task this evening. First, I'd like to thank everyone who made this exhibition possible. And secondly, I'd just like to give you a brief glimpse into my curatorial vision. And I'll expand on that tomorrow at 4 p.m. during the curatorial walkthrough. So first of all, I'd like to thank the poet and publisher Naveen Kishore, who invited me to curate the KGSubramanyan Centenary Show in Calcutta last year, as well as Richa Agarwal and Shmita Sahu of Imami Art Calcutta for supporting 100 years and counting Rescripting KGSubramanyan. The word Rescripting in the title is instructive because this show will offer you new readings of KG's legacy. This is the second iteration of the KGS show, and I must thank the president, Dr. B.L. Shankar, the secretary, Shashidhar Rao SN, the curator, Vijayshri CS, where are you? Thank you. And of course, I'd like to thank Mr. B.L. Shankar and Shashidhar Rao to invite me to curate this show. I'm happy to say that the Bangalore edition of the KGS show is a larger iteration with an additional selection of works. This is the first time that the Chitrakala Parisath has organized a contemporary art exhibition of such scale and complexity. I'm grateful to the CKP exhibition team, and especially Shashidhar Rao, Vijayshri CS, and Vijendra DG from INTAC for working closely with me in resolving all kinds of logistical and infrastructural issues. Their smiling faces and patient demeanor reassured me that together we could face any challenges that came our way. It is an honor and a privilege to curate the centenary show of the artist KGSubramanyan. Most people would consider themselves fortunate if they could set off a single revolution in their lifetime. KGSubramanyan radicalized each of the four major areas of activity he has been involved with. That is painting, cultural criticism, and policy making. KGS has been an important part of my consciousness since my college years. In my 20s, I conceived the National Symposium, Should the Crafts Survive, at the National Center for the Performing Arts in Bombay in 1995. I wrote a position paper then titled Mother Goddess on a Bicycle and Such Other Themes to set the conceptual framework for this gathering. To create new ways of reading KGS's graphic style. As it happens, Prasanna Rao from Karnataka was the first student KGS met in Shantiniketan in 1944. And Prasanna was in Belgrade during the first non-aligned summit, regaling the movement's founders Nehru, Tito, Sukarno, Nasir, and Kwame Nkrumah with his shadow play caricatures of the dignitaries. The show is full of such archival surprises that help us to read KGS's legacy through a new lens. And finally, a big shout out to the students of the Bengaluru School of Visual Arts who threw themselves with enthusiasm and dedication into the installing of this exhibition. They would just come in, watch while I was working, learn, help a little bit, then go and give their exams. The teachers would go for jury duty. They would return in the evening while I was working all the way into the night. And it was great to have all of them in the vicinity of the exhibition. So thank you, Professors Tejaswini, Vishal, big clap for both of them. Il and Chandan worked with me shoulder to shoulder into the late hours of the night. So thank you, Il and Chandan. And you were both a delight to work with. And Il, I don't know where you are, but I loved all the questions that you raised during the making of the show. It was really wonderful to have somebody who's unspoiled, innocent, and yet very bright and asking all the right questions. It just made my workload a little lighter and happier.
Nothing much to add on to this. I'm grateful that Bangalore is blessed to have put on a show of KGSubramanyan, one of the greatest artists that our country has seen. I have some of his works with me too. And I'm especially thankful to Professor Pramit and Nancy to have helped our team of people here at the Bangalore Chitrakala Parisath, and especially Sachika Rao, Vijayashri, have done a great job in making it happen here. So I wish the show a great success. Thank you.
Generous introduction. It's not every day that I'm called to be a chief guest of something as important as this show. So I'm kind of overwhelmed and very touched. And I'm very thankful to the Chitrakala Parisath and all those important functionaries who are sitting on the podium. And I'm also thankful to Nancy for pulling off one of the most interesting curatorial ventures into the works of an artist whom I knew rather intimately. So if I have any two bits to add to this is that I knew Subramaniam from the day I joined Shantiniketan. He started his working life in Baroda, and then he moved to Shantiniketan in 1980, where he studied. That was his alma mater. And I happened to join Shantiniketan in 1982. So when I met him first, he was only 2 years old in Shantiniketan as a teacher. But even then, the persona that he had was quite something. And we all knew that, and he wasn't a professor emeritus or anything by then, but he was published his first book, The Moving Focus was there. And then you hear him talk, and you hear him teach, you see him teach, which we saw from a distance for the first couple of years. We kept our distance, It's not that he was a scary man or he had extreme humility. Anybody could go and approach him, and the more I got to know him, the more that side of his persona revealed itself. So we all know about what a polyglot he was in terms of every medium of painting that he touched. He's like King Midas, whatever he touched, whether it is oil painting, whether it's gouache, whether it's tempera, whether it's brushwork, whether it is reverse painting, which started behind glass and then he moved to acrylic sheets, and whether they're very large-scale murals that he did with a very cheap material like sand casting, or even terracottas, then large-scale murals which were painted, children's books, toys, you name it, But then there was other sides to him, and one is of course as a writer, as a thinker, as a philosopher of art, which Nancy referred to as a sort of cultural critique of his time, a very important one. He was also an art administrator, and a majorly important pedagogue, a teacher. And he was instrumental in building the pedagogical model that has come to be associated with Baroda. And Baroda being the first university that came up after the independence, which started giving fine arts teaching a certain importance in the university structure, which was till then unheard of. including Chandni. I mean, Kalabhavan has been a part of Vishwabharati from day one. And yet, when it was formulated into a university, it wasn't, Kalabhavan was not a full-fledged faculty giving a degree. It was giving a diploma, it was a very important center. So it was this visionary lady who came up with the idea in Hansa Mehta that we find in 1949 when Maharaja Sayajirao University came about. And the two people...
Everybody, 5th of April 2025 is a date to be marked in the long 6 decades of journey of Karnataka Chitrakala Parisath. At the outset, I want to thank all the critics of Karnataka Chitrakala Parisath who are continuously saying that Chitrakala Parisath only crafts exhibitions happen, only saree exhibitions happen, and no quality standard exhibition happens in Chitrakala Parisath. 5th of April 2025 has given an answer to all those critics. At the outset, I thank them because they made us reactive and they made us to accept these challenges, and we have accepted these challenges. 2025 onwards, Chitrakala Parisath will be quite different. Putting up a show of this scale was not easy. It was challenging. One is taking out time, about 2 months of time of our all galleries which were booked 8 to 10 months earlier, at least sometimes 1 year earlier. Taking out that 2 months was a challenge. Somehow we were able to convince all those artists who have booked these galleries and ask them to just postpone their shows for the sake of this legendary show. The second thing was collecting the works of KGSubramanyan. It was not so easy. Thanks to all those persons, especially Vijay, Shri, Nancy and other people who helped us timely. Seagull and they came to our help and they were happy to lend their works to us. The third thing, biggest challenge was mobilizing the resources for such a show of this scale. It was a huge challenge. Even our executive committee was not sure how to mobilize this much of amount to put up this show of this scale and to sustain this. And once we start a show of this scale and if you don't continue every year, then that will be other bigger challenge. Then we decided that come what may, we'll accept this challenge and resources mobilized within our in-house finances only. Resources were mobilized, and whatever amount that we are spending on this show, we have no sponsors for this show, but it's all these resources developed in-house by the Karanataka Chitrakala Parisath. Then 2 months back we decided that of course Chitra Sante, there is a lot of appreciation for Chitra Sante. Same amount of criticism for Chitra Sante also, that we have brought all the artists to the streets and we have made it a street show. But we are happy, but I have no regret for that. We have started it 22 years back, and I assure you that we are going to continue it in spite of criticisms and appreciations, and because we feel that art is for all. It is not for only for the people who are in 5-star standard. Art is for also for a common people. So it is a signature event and a program of Karnataka Chitrakala Parisath. As long as Chitrakala Parisath is here, it will continue to have Chitra Sante programs in the first Sunday of every year. I assure you that is going to happen. I also assure you that a show of this scale is going to happen every year 2025 onwards, whatever may be the financial constraints and challenges, and we are going to accept it and try to have a show of this scale every year. We are going to have this scale of show. Next year also we are already planning. There are no dearth for philanthropies, but it is a fault of ours that we started late and there was a paucity of time, and that's why you couldn't approach many people. But we are planning for next year. Already we have started planning for next year's show of this scale. The other thing is then Bangalore is going to witness a major another show of Delhi Art Fair scale from this year onwards in the month of last week of May for 5 days. We want to have, and we are going to have Namma Art Bangalore show for 5 days, where only the invited artists of India are going to participate. It is also a unique show that is going to happen. There also there are many challenges, and there are many challenges of infrastructure and resources. That challenge also we have accepted, and we are going to do it also. And Chitrakala Parisath has decided to have 4 major events in the course of the year during Vijayadashmi or some during that time. We want to have every year a collectors exhibitions. There are many collectors in Bangalore who have works of many legendary artists with them. It has not been showcased for the public for a long time. We are seeking the help and suggestion of people like S.N. Agarwalji, who is our chairman of the Karnataka Chitrakala Parisath Trust after S.M. Krishna, and with their help, sometime during this September-October, we want to have these collectors exhibitions also. So 3 to 4 major programs of Karnataka Chitrakala Parisath is going to be held every year, and the whole image of Chitrakala Parisath is going to change from this year onwards. And also we have upgraded our galleries and our lighting system, everything, and we are also gradually trying to renovate and improve our museum to the national and international standard. So these are all the challenges. Being a private organization, fully supported by the government for our activity, it is not an easy thing to do it, but I promise you that Chitrakala Parisath, whether we are here, whomsoever is here, these activities are going to have, and whatever basic infrastructure is required for that, and whatever basic resources are required for that, we are going to mobilize it, and we are going to do it also. I should especially thank Nancy. There are some demands that people should work for 70 hours to 90 hours for a day, and they should come and learn with Nancy, who has worked for more than 100 hours in a week in putting up this show. And Nancy Adjania has answered all those people who have demanded 70 to 90 hours. And the way she was working from early morning to late night, it is actually a lesson to all of us who are working in Chitrakala Parisath and in both the day and evening colleges, that how dedicated, if a person is dedicated